You guys just like a big tip, that's all, you freaks.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
All right, your boy Trigger Man, back in the lab. And today, what we have here. Today we have a Toyota. This is a, I don't know, RAV4, Highlander, something, I don't know. But damage on the hood, blend the fender, lots of blend room here, wasted real estate. And then we have a fender repair and blend the door. And as you notice, you see anything different there, guys? Everything is R&I'd. We got a new body tech. He came from Caliber Collision. Nice high-end shop, air conditioned, but tired of the big shop fuckery. So he's here with the triggery, okay? And yeah, man, so very good body tech though. So we should be knocking out some nice things. So damage on the roof and blend the rest of the roof there. So today we're gonna talk about tip size, okay? Don't be a pervert. Tip size. There's women that watch this channel too, so don't be a perv. Tip size, okay? A lot of you guys are fascinated about tip size, okay? And tip size is not just a universal thing, okay? Tip size isn't just, oh, what tip size do you have? What tip do you use? And then you spray it and it works for you. It's not that simple. Sounds like it should be, but it's not, okay? And I've been seeing messages, hearing about it for a long time, these tip size stuff, and today we're gonna really talk about it, all right? Does this look familiar to you guys? This is from the Hachika. Yeah, but we're not gonna spray the Hachika with this, okay? No, I ain't. I got cojones, but they're not that big, not yet, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, we're gonna talk about tip size, man. So I'm gonna go mix up some paints, mask up, and then we'll get to it.
Trigger man! Hey, bro. Man, what you talking about cojones, man? Chico, you don't speak no Spanish, man. What you talking about me cojones? Man, you speak brother. You don't speak no Spanish, man. You speak brother. You're probably one of the most brother-speaking painters on YouTube. Alright, let me stop. I don't want to get no trouble, man. I ain't want to piss you off, Jigger. Alright, I'm just playing. But anyway, so this video is gonna be about the tip size, huh? Okay. I was gonna say something, but then when you say, oh, it's women who watch the channel, I was like, man, I don't wanna be that guy, you know? I ain't wanna be no pervert, you know? 1, 5, and 1 is 6. 16 PSI. Yeah, Trigger, I was gonna say something, man, about the tip size, but I don't want to be that guy, man. I'm not no pervert, you know. Even though I get busy in the back of the Hummer with the ladies, but you know, I'm not gonna be that guy. Nah. Anyway, I'm gonna go see what you're talking about with this tip size, man. Hopefully, it's some good information. I'll check in with you later, brother. Spray on, brother. Spray on.
Okay, talk about tip size. Now, what sparked for me to even go ahead and do this video, aside from all the messages I get weekly about what tip size is, what tip size is that, is with the Hachika spray gun. So many of you kept saying, oh, if they made this gun in a 1.2 or 1.3, it would be ideal, it would be perfect. And in my head, I'm like, no, not really. You know, then people wanted to put some kind of power regulator on it to turn down the pressure. And I'm like, no, not really. Watch here. When I'm painting this, my hose is gonna hit the hood. My hose hits the hood. Right there. Right through the base. And I'm spraying with slow reducer, and so that thing had to sit. But yeah, so that's what they're saying. Small tip size. Everybody wants a small tip size. And to a certain extent, I get it. So here's what I do here. Some 800 with some Scotch Brite on the back. Go ahead with some water. I'm using the waterborne cleaner, and just work that whole area. Anytime you get a little something in your base coat, let it sit, walk away, let it sit, scuff. Don't do it in just one little spot. Make it go around it, because you'll have a little bullseye there. Okay, so yeah, that just happened there. So that wasn't part of the video, but now it is. So yeah, so smaller tip. Everyone wants a smaller tip. I think Porfis just came out with a new smaller tip, 1.2. That's cool if you're someone who's just learning and you want to start out with a smaller tip because you think that a smaller tip will prevent you from screwing up, prevent you from making runs. Yes, it will. But you're going to be the slowest of the slowest, okay? And in a production shop, which most shops are, you know, you got to get work out. You got to get work out the door, okay? If you do this part-time and you just come in on the weekends or in the evening, you can play around and take all the time you want, you know? But when you're the main painter at a shop, you got to get work out the door. No production, shop foreman, nobody want to hear nothing about no, you know, look, I'm doing it slow with a 1.2 because I'm making it like glass, and you know, my followers and Instagram, you know, that's cool for social media, but to be out there in the real world and to make money, like that small little tip trying to go so slow and so fine, no. If you're just starting out and you want to do that with a little cheap gun, fine, till you get comfortable. But once you get experienced enough and you're actually working doing this, them little tips, that little play 1.0, 1.1, 1.2, that stuff ain't gonna fly, you know? And furthermore, those little small teeny tips, 1.2 and stuff, like that's cool for areas that are cold, you know, different parts. Remember, you watch painters on YouTube and they're in different parts of the world where it's cold, snowing, you know, they got a microwave clear and all that stuff. Like, things change with the climate. Like, anytime someone asks me, what tip size do you recommend? My first answer, and a lot of you know this, what is your climate? What is the climate? What is the temperature in your environment that you're spraying in? You know, all of that matters. All of that matters. Only time I'll bring out, I don't even think I have a 1.2. I think I have a 1.2 in one spray gun. That's the Sata Jet 55 X55 or something like that. But other than that, I'll bring out a 1.3. Oh, and a Segola. I have a Segola with a 1.2 XL. So, but those guns are machine different. You can find guys on YouTube that'll probably be more into measuring the holes and all of that stuff. Like, you can't just go by the sizes, what it says. It says 1.2, it says 1.3, it says 1.4. A lot of these guns, you know, they're machine different. And yeah, I don't have the tools to know and to sit there and do the measurements and stuff, nor do I care to. But I know that all of those guns that say what they are, they're not that, okay? You really think a 1.3 from the Segola 4600 Extreme and a 1.3 from Iwata WS400 is the same exact tip? Hell no, not at all, not even close. You know, so when you guys are worrying about these different tip sizes, you have to know the gun, you have to know the climate, you have to know the material. So if you're just starting out and you're trying to get a smaller tip because you want to make less errors and you're trying to learn, do that with the cheap gun. Do that with the inexpensive guns. And if you want that small tip size, do that with those. Because once you start learning, once you start painting, whether it be full time for a company or yourself or whatever, that's going to slow you down. You're going to want to move fast. You're going to move faster. It's like a kid learning to walk, you know. You're going to You can walk slow in the beginning because you're scared. You're gonna move faster. Once you get comfortable with that tip, you're gonna move faster. And then if you have an expensive spray gun, like say for the Iwata WS400, you know, if you say bought the 1.2 or 1.3, and then you realize later, like, okay, this is too slow. I want to get a bigger tip to move faster. Now you're talking $300. You're talking almost half the price of a spray gun just to upgrade your tip and your needle. Most guns, your tip and needle have to change. So that whole kit is going to run you maybe $300. So yeah, you can play around with cheaper guns that way. But when you get up to spending some money for a spray gun, and then you have to change, even if it's the needle, the nozzle, and the cap, you know, some of these things cost, man. So it's something to think about. It's not always the smaller tip is going to give you the best atomization. It's not always the case. Sometimes it'll be so fine and so it's not even worth it, you know, in my opinion. And most of these guns now, they're made to atomize great. So you can get a bigger tip size, choke your fluid just a little, and get a great finish. You know, all of that 1.2 and 1.1 and all that crazy stuff. I mean, that's cool, but realistically, no, that's not it. That's not it. And if you stay tuned to the end of this video, I'm going to show you guys an example, a perfect example. Matter of fact, I'll give you a heads up now. Like one of the internet's most popular spray guns today is the Exodus Luma 3. Okay. That gun is a 1.5. That's the same size as the Haichika electric spray gun, right? 1.5. So why does the Haichika need to be a 1.2, but the Exodus Luma 3 is okay with being a 1.5? Every single spray gun is different, okay? You just have to know the pattern of these spray guns. You know, someone just coming in, painting, purchasing, say, Iwatas. You know, initially, most people are going to say, oh, 1.2 or 1.3. Me being, I know Iwatas. I've dealt with Iwatas since 2000, early 2000s. I know that the temperature I spray in Florida, over 100 degrees in the spray booth, a 1.2 and a 1.3 will not work for me. If they work for me, I would have one. That's what I would have in my gun. But I do have a 1.3, an extra 1.3 needle and tip set for my LPH 400 as well as my WS 400. But I bring those tips out when it gets cold. Granted, we only get a couple days of cold weather in Florida, but when that weather drops below 65, I bring out a 1.3. I swap it in my guns. And again, that's the weather, that's the climate, that's the temperature, and I get the same exact finish. Nothing changes. My finish is the exact same. So what I'm saying is, you know, the tip sizes, it's not just a universal, like one size fits all. It's not, you know. If you're spraying in hotter climates, you're gonna need a larger tip size to get the volume of work that you want to get done and get it out. Okay. But again, if you're just someone that's doing one little piece, one panel, or one whatever, then okay. But some of you guys are trying to do this to actually become painters, and before you go spend all that money, I'm just letting you know it's gonna bite you in the butt, because once you get rolling and you get comfortable with it, you're gonna want to move up a size, and it's gonna cost you half the price of what you paid for a spray gun. So when you ask those questions of, you know, the guys that love to just ask the settings and what size and everything, Ask someone that's spraying in the same climate as you, okay? Or if you don't know, ask. But just take that into consideration when you just randomly just ask, what's tip size, what tip size, what tip size, you know? Ask that. It's important. Very important. So here we have, like I said, this is a 1.5 here. I'm spraying with the Exodus Luma 3 to 1.5. The same tip size as the Hichika. Okay. What's the difference? The only difference right now between this and that electric spray gun is that this pressure is way up. Okay. I'm at 36, 37 PSI. If that electric spray gun with that tip size was able to crank up the pressure or wattage, since it's electric, it would do the same thing. I 100% guarantee you it would do the same thing. If that gun was able to have more watts slash PSI, it would do the same thing. The tip size on this Exodus Luma 3 is actually a tiny bit bigger than the tip on the Hichika. But no one's saying, oh, if they made the Exodus Luma 3 and a 1.2, ooh, it would be the perfect gun. No, the gun is already the perfect gun. So just some things to take into consideration, man. And I just hate to see guys just wasting money. And I see it a lot. I see it. I get the messages, private. I see it. And it's awful, man. You know? Guys are just blowing through money, man. It's awful. It really is.
All right. We got it done. This is what we're looking like. Not too bad, not too shabby. Yeah, so that's what we're looking like. The owner of the shop said that he's gonna try to deliver this tomorrow. So today's Friday, so might not get to see it out in the sun, but you get the gist of it. So, like I said, tip, 1.5. This is one of the top guns all over social media right now, and it's 1.5, and it shoots just fine. So, what's the problem with the tips? Come on, man. You guys just like a big tip, that's all, you freaks. Yeah, that's it on this one, man. Catch you in the next one.
And the owner actually had the body tech to put the vehicle together while it was still wet. Like right now, you can stick your finger in the hood and it'll leave a fingerprint. Like it's wet. I used slow on it, so it's wet. And the body tech was like, man, the paint is still sticky. Like what? Like that's how we do it, man. You know, he's coming from Caliber Collision, so this is something new for him. But he gonna learn quick. This is how we do things. When you gotta get it out, you gotta get it out. But yeah, so it is what it is. So that's what it looked like outside. And as far as for the tips, here's just a little example. Now this is the tip from the Hichika spray gun, and this is my little tool I use to clean out my tip sometime. I don't recommend doing that, but as you can see, like barely goes in there. Okay, barely goes in. You see the hole? Little hole. Now it goes in quite a bit on the Exodus Luma 3. It's going in there more than on the Hichika. Did you see? Big gaping hole. Big hole. So again, don't get too obsessed with all that whole tip size. I just hate to see you guys just blowing money, man. Guys buying expensive guns with a small, tiny tip. They get comfortable with it. Then a few months later, they go spending $200, $250 getting a next size up tip. Okay? Or with the same small tip, then they upgrade to a higher solid clear, and then they can't even get the clear through the gun. Then you got to start adding reducer. Then you start getting dieback, and it's just, man. Hopefully it helps somebody. I'm trying to get my point across, man. Hopefully somebody got it. Want to thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the show. Please leave a comment, give a like, thumbs up, share the video with a friend, and after doing so, if you would please tell his girlfriend. Peace.